cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife. Leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. Just black and white. Come on. White, come on, baby. Love, no more, baby. Just black and white, just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white.
Make me feel well, oh, I can't break the spell. I just have to be true.
Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. Just black and white. Black and white.
Alright guys, welcome back to another Mobile Mayhem premiere episode of The Spawn. It's obviously me, Denomine, here with my usual verdict, as well as we have Veer for you guys today from Anarchy. So, should be a pretty fun time. We did intend to have mining today, but unfortunately that didn't work out. But I gotta say, I'm a big Veer fan. You know, one of the players I am constantly hyping up in the EU scene, one of the players I very specifically mentioned to Verdict and Imperium when they were looking at the Anarchy roster. I was like, man,
Nice.
you cannot sleep on these guys.
There we go. I think my face was a little messed up there.
Your face
Got
is
half
still a
my
little messed
face.
up. Did you
I'm like,
move?
hey!
Yeah, did you move?
No, I didn't. I was trying to readjust it before you said something, but I think you got it. You got it. You got it.
I'll tinker with it. But yeah, thanks
Hello.
for coming by, everybody in chat. Not a super exciting day for EU, right? I mean, we had a short day. We only had 2 matchups. The Legacy versus Anarchy match was obviously pretty quick, and so was the Cold matchup, which I don't necessarily want to say Cold played bad, but in the level of competition that they were going for, you could definitely tell that the couple weeks of practice they've had together as a team has not really set in a bunch yet.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, hello chat first, but like, I did expect Cold to win, to be fair, but it didn't turn that way. Sadly.
Yeah, definitely a rough day for Cold, but I mean something that, you know, they're not going anywhere, right? Like those players, they're going to be around for a long time, and I gotta say, I'm excited to see more out of a lot of these EU teams. I've been one week after week to say, you know, hey, I'm really wishing that there was more EU teams than NA teams going to Worlds. And I stand by that. I fully stand by that. The EU teams have been way more competitive as of late. Verdict's probably laughing at his face getting all
Look,
chopped
yeah.
up over there.
I'm trying to work with you, and I'm like, dude, I can't get this fucking right. What's going on? And then all of
I'm
a sudden
getting
he
it.
starts
I'm
moving
getting
it. Oh, all right, you got it. You got it. I think I'm gonna stop fiddling with it. I'm gonna let you handle your business. But yeah, today's matchups didn't have too much high of an implication, but I think the Legacy and Anarchy matchup, which obviously you guys won 2-0, was probably the one that I didn't expect to be so great. It was one where Legacy came out the gate. They didn't have anything on the line. Literally, if they won, they lost. It doesn't matter. The fact that they showed up and put you guys to a test was just absolutely phenomenal. I think that's one of the things that Imperium and I just was extremely focused on. And, you know, low-key, we were both kind of wanting to see a Game 3. But obviously, you guys were able to take that series in 2-0. So GG's to you guys and GG's to them. But I gotta say, like, I'm looking forward to seeing how those teams progress.
Yeah, you can't really like take off any credit of them because like they're like one of the teams that qualified for stage 4. Like they actually like want to practice and want to get better, like unlike other teams. And you can't really rate them, even though like the matchup has like nothing to deal with like the points or like in points in general. It's just good practice for them. Like either way, like they play good people in a tournament. It's a whole different like setup than scrims. So missing out on tournaments is not like something you want to do if you want to improve.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of really exciting things coming up for specifically EU. I mean, again, you know, I'm obviously in NA. I'm a fan of a lot of the NA teams, but the competition has just not been there. And you look at EU, and I think fortunately, it's a big thing to make note of that originally looking towards Worlds, we were looking at, okay, there's going to be 2 NA teams, there's going to be 2 EU teams, and that's all fine and dandy, but I'm glad that they've extended it to be 3 and 3. Time and time again, I will tell you, I wish it was still just 2 for NA and 4 for EU, just because there's so much really good talent in EU right now. And it's really difficult to look at the remaining handful of teams in the EU scene and be like, man, only two of these guys are going to be, or two of these teams are going to be moving on. Looking at you guys over on Anarchy, obviously I've been a big fan of you guys from the start. Cold is a team that, while they haven't had enough time to really develop what I think that roster is potential can be, we may not see them go on. We're still looking at obviously Stamina, who were one of the lead favorites going into Masters that fell out pretty early on during finals weekend, and as well Oxygen, who are going to be right up there fighting for that spot as well. And to think that only two of these teams are going on to Worlds, it's kind of sad, right? Because these are all like really Worlds worthy teams available, and I don't know. It's hard to imagine a Worlds event where we don't have Durari, Grizz, Toby, where we don't have Shark, Marvel, Leader, Miney, Kike, Veer, Jim. So it's just it's gonna be interesting.
Sadly, that's how it is. Like you can't do shit. Like I'm watching like recently NA as well, and I'm not actually impressed. But there's not like good teams. There's just 2 or 3 teams that actually stand out, and like one of them already qualified. But also you can't you can't do anything. There were a lot of good teams, but they were underage, and that kind of like ripped apart like the scene in a bit as well, because you couldn't play these guys anymore. You have like made up teams that just like aren't teams. They just play for gunfights or whatever it is. It's kind of sad to see.
Do you guys in Europe specifically have like a underage team that like all the big teams are trying to practice against, or anything like that? Because obviously for North America, one of those key teams has been Seminole, which is a all under 18 roster. Several of them are actually turning 18 in the near future. But I know that's a team that, the likes of your NYSL Mayhems, your Tribes, your ARPs, your Arsenal Explicits, that's one of those teams that you may not see them in competition, but all of the top level players are trying to get those scrims in against, just because, one, it's a way to get that good high level practice while still hiding some of your strategies against your actual other opponents coming up in the near future. And I don't know enough about the EU scene. Like I show up and I watch EU every week, but outside of like actually watching Mobile Mayhem and Masters, I don't know much about the underage scene for Europe.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say like they're like good underage team now, but they used to be, and they were like good practice. Like they could like compete and like actually win a lot as well, but not necessarily right now. Of course, you have like Omniscient that have like couple people that are under 18 and over 18 as well, but it's just like it's not the same than it was like before.
What about that team that Aphelion played with last year, or last season rather? Raid, I believe Hisoka was on that team at one point. What happened with them?
I'm pretty sure they disbanded and like split apart, or like people quit the game. Like I didn't see like a lot of them like around anymore.
Yeah, because they were like cracked as hell. I mean,
and they played on iPhones as well. Like you can't can't say nothing.
Yeah, I imagine them like being like 16, 15 years old. They're playing on an iPhone 7 and they got a cracked screen and just dogging on kids. They were literally one of my favorite teams to watch last season. And when everything swapped over to 18 plus, I was so sad to see them not be able to play. And if anything, they were probably like one of the teams last season that had the most improvement, as well as like, they were new to the scene. They came through in qualifiers. They won qualifiers, which had no implication. But, bro, they literally had a third place matchup that they ended up forfeiting due to lack of players. And I could understand that. But, are any of those guys looking to stay in the competitive scene? Or do they play pickup games? I'm not trying to make this about them, but literally they would probably be the equivalent to a Seminole on the EU side of the pond.
Yeah, for sure, but you don't see like most of them around anymore. Probably because like there's no big tournaments for them to actually like participate on, and no team would like pick people under 18 anyway. Sadly,
That is sad. That's terrible because they had so much potential, bro. I remember kids literally coming in chat. Oh, these guys are hacking. Make sure they, blase, or these guys. I mean, literally, they were that good, bro. Like they were like the team that showed up and just, put everyone to the test. I think Skirt. I'm trying to remember all the roster. I'm going to look back, but less about that, more about what we were talking about, the champs situation. I think it's, Day, and I'm just trying to be fair. I know we had Jim on last week. Big shout out, Jim, big fan. I think it's time we stop making, that excuse of, a newly formed team, holding them back from, competing at a stage 4 level. They get 2-0'd by Oxygen, who clearly came out with a, strong fist today, and they rained down on them. They literally, the search and destroy, bro, wasn't close.
Yeah.
I'm just to the point where I'm tired of seeing this team underperform. Do you think that they have an opportunity to even,
Like they're actually like they're individually all of them are insane on paper. They should be like actually insane as a team, but without like any hate or something, like I have nothing against them all, but I don't think their current lineups like will work out together. Like it's just without like hating them.
I couldn't agree with you more. As a matter of fact, they have. I've been sitting here week after week now. I believe we're on our 4th week, waiting for them to show up, per se. And I just haven't gotten that.
They still have like 4 to 5 weeks to practice. Like I'm pretty sure that they're gonna show up at stage 4, but right now it's like not looking that great. It's looking great, but not that great.
Do you guys scrim against them at any points?
Yeah, we scrimmed them today, like before the matchup, and they were looking good. Like I didn't expect that result, like against Oxygen.
Do you think it was more so Oxygen just performing to their like top tier abilities? Because we've noticed them falling off here recently too. Do you think it was more so that, or less of that, and more of Cole just not, developing as they should?
I have no clue what's happening on Cold, but I assume like there was something in the way, like let it be lag or like MS, or let it be something about the device. Like I assume something that with that, but I don't think like realistically in my eyes they shouldn't have lost to Oxygen. It would have been a 2-0 for Cold. Like Oxygen is not looking good either.
No, they're not. They've been on a downward spiral, like I mentioned in those stream, and I don't mean to be dogging them, but I'm just stating the facts. They're like on the opposite trend of what you guys are doing. You guys, you've been just on this upward spiral, and I can't describe it any better than that. I mean, I wish I was a little bit more creative, but it just looks like you guys are continuously getting better and better. And when we think that you guys are going to stop, you prove us wrong even more. So, I got the chance to talk to Kike. I got the chance to, hear from you, of course. And I had Don and VC as well. I mean, you guys got a tight knit group, and I mean, what are you guys doing to stay, on top of things? Are you staying just, in constant communication with each other? Like, share a little insight from your perspective.
I wouldn't necessarily say like that, but I can say for sure that like bringing removing XZ and Primza and getting Creed and Don in was like the best thing we could do.
I see that.
When we practice with them, like for the first time, like before picking them up, like we saw, actually like we're winning gunfights, we can make this work. And then we pick them up, and since then it's just like a chemistry thing. Like we're trying to like get better, like just chemistry at the end. But like when you have a team that can win gunfights against the best team, then you can start like building chemistry, and you actually can be a contester, or like for like a trophy or whatever it is.
I hear you. So speaking a little bit more about the team, Miney in particular, man, why did he ghost us today? He was supposed to be on. I know you got big shoes, Bill. You coming in and you're killing it. I need you to sell him out.
I'm gonna expose Miney right now here. Like he was supposed to get a trim, but he didn't get it. That's why he's not here.
Oh, that's
Really?
okay. I'll let it pass. I'll let it slide this time.
Yeah.
We'll make sure we get him on at a later date, guys. Don't worry. You know, I plan on getting a lot of the EU pros here on for the EU scene. So I know Yaya's one that we have coming up, which should be a good time. Obviously, originally I had reached out to Miney, and you know, whatever it may have been, he says it's a lie in chat, but whatever it may have been, something came up where he wasn't going to be able to make it today, and Veer came in and filled in, and we're glad to have you here. You were actually
you.
one of the other people that I was like, all right, I've got my next 2 weeks set up. Who am I going to have after that? And I was like, oh, Veer. And then Miney didn't show up. I was like, well, let's see if we can grab someone from Stamina to try to
Perfect
not
for you.
have Miney and Veer back to back, because we already did that with Slim and Jim, and you know, so we'll get everybody in. It'll be a good time. Everybody will get their shot. But
For sure, like this format that you guys have, like with the spawn, is actually like crazy. You guys killing it.
we try.
Like, I like watching it after Mayhem, even the NA one.
Yeah, we try. I mean, I definitely am used to seeing you in chat. You're one of my favorite people to have pop in chat, because you've always got really like in-depth opinions on what's going on. Whereas like a lot of your, like the typical viewer, right, like watches the game and they see who wins and who loses, and they look at the flashy player that popped off that game. But you're really able to come in, and I've seen you make comments in the past. You're like, hey, you know, this player is playing good, but you know, they weren't like with the team carrying as big of an impact as they can, and you know, I think that's one of the big differences between the pros and your average viewer, is just how in depth into the actual play that effect carried. And that's one of the nice things about getting you guys here on the spawn, because me and Verdict don't see everything, right? Like that's a reality. You know, me, Verdict, Imperium, Bobby, whoever it may be, we can't see everything, and every once in a while, you know, we could peek over to chat and be like, oh man, I missed that, you know. So it's
Yeah,
fun
obviously,
fun
like
to have you guys on and talk and
Yeah, like-
have a good time.
Thank you. Like it's a good format, but like obviously, like people like that actually like don't usually like is like are not into that. Like when I look at kills or like the hill time or like the deaths, like it's not just that. Like you saw today, like Fanes like getting 18 kills like up to the like the third hill. That's just like
Yep.
insane. Like I still think like the Oxygen won because of him today, even though
Oh
like,
yeah, he
they were
big
kind of
carried.
playing good. Yeah, just
Yeah.
like that, like you not see the same shit like as a casual than you would do as someone that plays it like professionally, I'd say.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, you can't argue with the way Oxygen played. I mean, for the most part, all season long, they've been looking pretty solid, right? Obviously, they're right up there
Yeah.
with the likes of your Novas and Staminas and Anarchies, and Cold. Obviously, we haven't seen take off, and sometimes that's just the case. I mean, in North America, that's something that NYSL Mayhem had been through quite a bit, where, you know, on paper, you know, having Saxy on the team, having Jesus on the team, having Molly on the team, all on paper looks good, and it just never worked out, and those players have gone their separate ways, and they're all popping off in their own respect now, and, you know, that may just be what happens with the Cold roster, which would be a little bit unfortunate in my opinion, but I think that leads us to a good point on what to expect coming up here in the next couple of weeks, because obviously here on Thursday we're going to have the quarterfinals starting for this season of Mobile
Ooh.
Mayhem, which is going to be on Thursday. I believe it's Oxygen versus Tragic and Anarchy versus Cold, so two potentially really big matchups. I would say the Anarchy versus Cold is the one I'm looking more forward to. I fully believe Oxygen probably smokes Tragic in the quarterfinals round there. And then, based on their placements, Nova and Stamina are already moved on to the semifinals. So that'll be the following week with the finals on Thursday. And I think the week after that is Stage 4. So a lot of really, really exciting high-tier content coming your way. Obviously, Veer, we're
Yeah.
going to see you on Thursday up against Cold. Is that a matchup you're worried about after seeing how they played today, or?
I mean, like Jim is in the chat. Like, I don't think they played like good as they did in Scrim. But actually, like, yeah, of course, you worry about like teams like that you play against. But at the end, like when you play like a lot, it don't matter like to you who you play against. It's just like you can beat any team in any given day. It just like comes on how you play as a team. But Cold is good. Like even though they don't show like the performance like or the results, they're good. You can't count anything off them.
Yeah, if they bring the same level of energy to Thursday's matchups that the paper says they should have, you would definitely expect that to be a really good matchup, and that's one of the reasons that I'm looking most forward, because I feel like a lot of the players on Cold are players that really perform well in a pinch. I don't know if you have maybe the same opinion, but looking like at Lydia, right? Like, okay, played good through throughout Masters, but like that Saturday, like Lydia was just like hard carrying for XOXO. One of the big reasons that Stamina got knocked down into the losers bracket. So I'm definitely thinking come Thursday, Cold probably performs a little bit better, right? Like the likes of your Jim, Lydia, Dark Wizard, and Sav, I feel like all perform well when it counts. And I think that is kind of a big fear factor. Now, I also feel the same about the Anarchy lineup as well, between you, Miney, Kike, Head for Death, Donlai. Like, I feel like all of you guys really come together in a pinch. So coming into the quarterfinals, where in that best of three, is it best of three or is it best of five for the quarters?
Best of five.
Best of five for the quarters. That's going to be a big determining factor in who wins the long mental game, right? Because if you start getting into game 4, game 5, you've been sitting there playing your absolute hardest for an hour or whatever it may be, that starts to put a toll on people. And I think a lot of like your casual players may not necessarily understand that level of competition.
Yeah, obviously, like people that like even like last year with stage 4, like it was like a hell of a weekend because you played like, I'm pretty sure we started like Sunday we started like 11 or like 12 and ended up like 7 p.m. like at night. Like it's just like it's so exhausting, and you have like a headache after that as well. Like people that play like big tournaments, like they know, and for sure like about stage 4, like people like don't realize it's on a whole different client. So you have like low MS and like everything hits, so you can use like basically any gun you want and any team can pop off. Like yeah.
Especially for Europe, where there's so many teams that are really, really close. And Verdict, you're obviously a bit more invested in the European scene than I am. So I feel like while I do watch a lot of EU, I mean, you're here every week. You are here grinding and killing it. And you may have a little bit more opinion on, just looking at the overall kind of next week ahead of us, right? So Thursday quarterfinals, Tuesday semifinals, and Thursday grand finals. If you had to make a prediction, who do you think we see in the grand finals?
Yeah, this is an easy pick. I went over a little bit earlier at the end of the stream. I kind of touched on it, but I'm glad you brought it up. Out of the quarterfinal matchups, I'm with you with Cold Esports taking on Anarchy being the closer one, but that's a big gap. That I still like feel that Cold Esports, after hearing that you guys are scrimming them on a regular basis, you actually scrimmed them before the Mobile Mayhem games tonight. That gives me a little bit more reassurance about the direction that they're taking, but I cannot believe that Cold Esports moves on. I'm sorry. I just in a picture perfect world, had Cold Esports been up top, yeah, maybe. I think there would have been an opportunity for them to take on Oxygen and move on, but I still don't feel like they would have taken it any further. But based on the games that I'm seeing here, I'm calling Anarchy to take it to the semifinals against Stamina. Oxygen taking down Tragic. That won't even be a close up match. Oxygen's definitely going to drop to Nova Esports.
Definitely going to drop to Nova Esports, he says.
Yeah, definitely. There's not a shot in hell that Oxygen. And I'm just being as real as possible. I'll be optimistic and say they'll take it to a game 4, but Nova Esports going to take the bag and take it to the finals. Stamina and Anarchy, that's going to be an interesting one. It's really just going to depend on whose stamina has in their roster that day. If, to my understanding, I believe Grizz has been sick recently. I know it's been within the past month. But also Narcs, who we haven't seen. I don't remember the last time I seen Narcs. Is he going to be able to play? Are they going to be able to produce 100% talent? Are they going to be 100%? That's going to be huge factors. But based off of what I've seen from Anarchy recently, I just don't see how they'll lose that matchup, regardless of who's in the play. Also, including what Viri just said, any dog could have their day, in the sense stamina could certainly prevail and take it to the finals. But I firmly believe Anarchy has what it takes to take it to the finals. And I gotta say, an Anarchy and Nova Esports finals would be an absolute delight to watch. I don't know where that series goes or how that pans out, but I'm predicting that that's what's going to happen. And once the finals day comes, I guess we'll play it by ear, but I have a hard time believing that anything of different scenario pans out. I'm sorry. Based off of what I've seen recently.
I think it's a pretty good breakdown. I mean, Veer, would you pretty much say the same as far as what you would expect moving forward?
Not really. I would say Tragic's gonna win against Oxygen.
Okay.
Really?
That's a bold statement.
Nah, cause there's a reason why.
I'm
There's a
listening.
reason why I'm saying it, but it's not definitely. Wait. Not let's be real. Oxygen is not getting the same practice as all the other EU teams, and that's known in the scene. The reason why, I'm not gonna say it, but they don't get the same practice, and I don't feel like they would perform good when Tragic has a good day. Because Tragic has, when they're on a good day, they're looking hella good. You can't count them out.
Yeah.
Tragic's like a team, like a Dark Horse for me.
I would say the last matchup that I saw them play, I think they were under the Energy name then. It's been a weird transition for them over the past couple weeks, but Ragox and Rondo absolutely popped off. And Rondo was a big one, right? Because he was one of the few players where I'm just sitting looking who is this guy? And just absolutely wrecked shop. I mean, he put up double digits in the Search and Destroy. He was wrecking in the Hardpoint. I think we actually saw a Dom out of them that day as well. But yeah, I mean, that's something that we've definitely mentioned. I think Plim had pretty much a similar kind of view on them as you did coming into this. Is they're a team that on a good day they can compete with any of the teams in EU. My biggest issue with Tragic has been the level of consistency. One day we'll see them show up and absolutely just destroy and look like this fantastic team, and then we can see them go up against a team that's not even as good as the team they played before and really struggle. And that's where my biggest fear with Tragic is. I definitely feel like you're right, and they have the potential to be Oxygen. Just until they show me some degree of consistency, I can't be a believer.
I mean, we haven't played them a lot either, but I don't know. I don't feel like Oxygen has a shot. I'm not, you can get meme for it. People can quote me or I don't give a shit, but I don't think Oxygen's good right now or at all. They just get carried by individuals, and that's not a way to go in my eyes.
I certainly feel that. As a matter of fact, we saw Faints carry today. But we've also seen Faints struggle at times too. If I'm not mistaken, he struggled last week. Who did Oxygen have last week on the schedule? Let me check that real quick, because didn't they lose on Thursday? Which
they
would have
lost
been
to Anarchy on Thursday.
They played us last week.
And that's right. They lost, and it was a 2-1, and it wasn't a close. Literally, it was a blowout in the Hardpoint.
Yeah,
and it was not even a close domination. The Search and Destroy was close in theory.
They won it lucky.
Yeah, exactly. But that kind of exposed where Faint struggled they struggled. As a matter of fact, I don't think he had a single kill in the in the domination game for like the first 3 minutes. Like that wasn't his typical behavior. And I'm not trying to pinpoint one player in particular, but you're mentioning, they have a tendency to get carried, and when they're not getting carried, you see the results. So I kind of favor that, but at the same time, even on a bad day, I still think that they have an opportunity to beat a team like Tragic, who just hasn't had
Obviously,
that
yeah,
consistent matchup or play style all season. Am I right?
like not necessarily, but I think the addition for with Rondo to Tragic, that's a huge plus for them.
Okay.
And like if they can figure out like something and they play good teams like every day, like they can make it. They can make it worth and like actually plays top 4 or like less, maybe not top 3, I would say, but maybe top 4.
Okay.
Do you perhaps know, Beer, if Rondo was maybe a player we know under a different name, or is he like legitimately a rookie that's just amazing?
A rookie, that's amazing.
Awesome. Well, that's good to see. That's good to see new faces come in and stir things up.
Yeah, I've never heard of the guy before, and when he came on the scene, he was a late addition to the roster, right?
Yeah.
Like, how does a team pick up a guy like that? It's like getting on gold before, there's ever gold there.
I can imagine how like they probably played against him and he smoked them. I guess, but like that's how it works usually. If you play against a guy and they smoke you like the whole time, then yeah, he's good. But I haven't seen him either like at all. Like I saw him once when we scrimmed a random team and he was like cracked.
Yeah, you say that, but then also you got guys like Raid last season who did the same exact thing. Dude carried, but players like him get the note that they're, sus or suspicious. Like, can a guy be cracked and come in the seat and make a dent and go unscathed? I don't think I ever saw him with any kind of like suspicious behavior. I mean, he was getting called out on a consistent basis, though.
Yeah, when you're actually a crack player and you're surrounded by people that are like shit, like you're not gonna like you're not gonna be good.
You're right.
You're not gonna be good. You have to have good players around you.
You're right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely been an interesting one, and I don't have the dates pulled up. So obviously, we've all thrown in our opinions on how we expect the rest of Mobile Mayhem to go. We've got a couple disagreements here and there, but obviously, Thursday we'll definitely see what goes on. What is the date for EU Stage 4? Because I cannot find where I saved the graphic for that.
18 and 19.
18 and 19, which is
September, next month.
Yeah. Oh, is it that late? I felt like you guys were at the beginning of September.
No, it's mid-September.
Okay. Alright, yeah, I'll definitely have to dig that graphic up, because clearly I am confused. But, yeah, we'll get to that, obviously, about a month from now. It's, the 17th now? So, yeah, like, spot on a month from now. So, that's an exciting thing to look forward to, and I think the finals for Mobile Mayhem will be a big kind of window into looking to what we can expect out of these teams. Obviously, Oxygen, a team that really performed in Masters strong, but has been maybe not at their best these past couple weeks. Cold, a team that's on paper just looks like they should be absolutely cracked, that has been struggling to get it together. Stamina, who, as Verdict mentioned, is having unfortunately some main roster problems right now. And I gotta say, and this isn't just because you're the guest here today, but Anarchy has been looking absolutely fantastic. Weeks and weeks and weeks ago, I was in chat, and like I mentioned, Verdict and Imperium were I just don't know if Anarchy can do it, and you can't sleep on that level of talent, and you guys honestly look better and better every week, right? So that's something that I'm really interested in looking forward is Anarchy a team that I think a lot of people slept on early, I, are you guys bringing that level of energy that can secure a world spot? Because, like I said, not seeing Miney or Donlai or Fear or Head for Death at Worlds would be just absolutely bizarre to me. And having you all together on a roster has definitely been one of those things where at the very beginning I was looking at it and I was like, man, on paper this team looks crazy. And it was a little bit scuffy at the beginning, but it's come together well in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean we've gone far. Like people know in the team as well. Like you can't like really count off anything, and yeah, I don't know what to say.
I know what to say. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, and I'm gonna go ahead and let it pour it out. And Miney's probably gonna be like, "Fuck you, Verdict," and I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay with that. I'm gonna go back to that tweet that I brought up that Kike and I talked about because I feel like that was a big moment for you guys. Not only for him to get it off his chest, but also for you guys to come to the realization that shit's getting real. He brought the point up, and this is just something I talked to Kike about. I was like, bro, from the outsider perspective, it looks like you guys got issues that you can't deal with in public, and now you're taking it to Twitter. That doesn't look like a form of stability to me. And in my opinion, when I see stuff like that, it doesn't give me any kind of clarification on whether you guys are going to, stick together or try and make something up or disband. It was such a bizarre tweet. It read something along the lines of, I don't know whether if I should just stick to content and say fuck competitive. It was something along those lines, and I told him, I was like, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I saw that shit, I was like, I exactly, and Miney's making the point in chat for me. I brought that up to him, and he hit it right on the head, man. He's like, no one addressed it, dude. We just gotta act it, and from that moment on, I started taking you guys a little less seriously from there. And then when Day came in chat and said, you can't count these guys off. In my mind, I'm like, yeah, okay, we can't count them off. You got the guy who is a huge content creator, who is putting and airing everything out on Twitter, and it's bringing unnecessary drama. But then to see it from behind the scenes, now that I've had conversations with you, I've had conversations with Donlai, I've had conversations with Kike. It's a fucking miracle story. You guys doubled down. You made, roster changes that were necessary. And when Kike told me, he was like, we didn't want to make these changes, bro, but we had to, in order for us to survive, for us to get better.
I can break it down for you if you want. But like we did last Mayhem season, we didn't even qualify for the playoffs as well. I think we were 10th or not 10th, 8th or something last season. We didn't want fuck all last season.
Exactly. Y'all doubled down, and y'all legit probably neck and neck with the likes of Stamina and Nova Esports. I won't say top or bottom ish. We'll just see how it pans out. But when y'all are on, dude, y'all are fucking on. And there's not a single series since that particular time frame that they brought it to my attention and said, don't sleep on them. It just so happened to be right. Ever since then, I literally have not discounted you guys. I can't afford to do it anymore because you just, you're on this path of to greatness. And if you pave that road with everything that you got going on, it's a beautiful story, bro. I am going to be very humble and say that I am, very pleased to be in your presence and be able to have this conversation, because I literally am exposing myself as well as what you guys had going on. So I feel a little bit vulnerable, but I know I'm confident in your guys' story to bring it to light and, speak on it. So I won't say anything else more. I completely appreciate the grind and absolutely love the fact that you guys doubled down and didn't disband. I guess that's where I'm coming from. It's coming from the heart. I appreciate you guys.
I can explain what specifically happened, because people don't understand. We usually had a roster for Masters, right? And we barely during Masters got 5 to scrim, 5 to scrim, or even for the Masters matches we had 5. We did 3 roster changes before and after Masters, and during Masters as well. Not after Masters, during Masters and before. And like people were saying like, yeah, it's just Masters. Let's champs is where it matters and shit. And like it just like Miney got depressed because of it. Like
Understandable.
Kike couldn't be asked. I couldn't be asked. Like everyone wanted like to switch. Like something had to be like done, and like we all knew it. And like one day in the VC, I brought up like, let's kick XZ, like who was before our captain, and he was like, he couldn't have time to scrim or like wasn't good. So we dropped him with Primza and like got Creed, which made us like, since that moment made us way better, because we knew that like us three sticking together would have made a change.
That's
And
that core.
we were close to like disbanding as well. Mani was close to just quitting and going back to content creation, like doing his thing with stream. Maybe me joining another team and Kike as well, and just like leave the team, I guess, and leave everyone behind. Our managers wanted to leave, like everyone wanted to leave. There was no reason for anyone to just stick around and like go through that pain. But luckily, we're just like on the place where we're at right now. Luckily.
Well, I gotta say,
I mean,
I'm
I
glad
can't say luck is anything attributed to that. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like luck is one thing that it just happens. You guys got hearts of champions. You guys got like the passion to win in your blood. That's all you guys. That's not luck. All right. This is Miney. This is you. This is Kike. This is y'all's passion for wanting to be better, wanting to do great things,
Yeah.
coming out, and to attribute that to luck, that's a no, bro. I'm gonna shut you down there. That's all you guys, bro. Luck is nothing to do with that.
Yeah, you
I
guys
mean, yeah,
definitely-
thanks for the guess, but
You guys definitely put the work in. It's something that we can,
Facts.
as
Yeah.
people who are just sitting here spectating week after week, watching Mold Mayhem develop this season. I meant it when I said it, right? You guys are a team that not only turned things around in a big way, but continued to get better and better each week. Where even those first couple games after I told Verdict and Imperium, hey, don't sleep on these guys, they're actually really solid. And you guys
slept
came
on
through
you.
with it. You guys came through with a couple big games then, but I mean, it has just grown and grown and grown from there. Where if you would have asked me 3 or 4 weeks ago if I think Anarchy is a team that wins a world spot, I'd have said, they have potential, but probably not. I would have been looking at the likes of your Stamina and your Oxygen for the most part, and that has very, very quickly shifted pace. I mean, just the last 2 weeks alone, I'm starting to look like, maybe it's looking more like Stamina and Anarchy now. Maybe Oxygen's fallen down a little bit. I really wanted big things to come out of Cold, but again, as we've all kind of mentioned time and time again today, it just hasn't come together the way that you would expect it to have. So I think there's a real possibility that we have, a month from now, assuming everything continues along this path at least.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we're probably looking at Nova, Stamina, and Anarchy going to Worlds for EU. And I think we're probably, if I had to guess, for the side of NA, you're probably going to be looking at Tribe, NYSL Mayhem, and Explicit moving on. Now, obviously, there's still a lot of time for both regions between now and then, but I would think that's probably some of the head-to-head matchups to start looking forward to for Worlds. In addition, looking at the likes of LATAM, you obviously have your 11Ts, you have your Zygnus.
yeah.
And I'm so very excited for Worlds because you can look at all the regions individually and say, oh, well, this team from this region looks like they're probably going to win it all. And then you show up to Worlds and it could be totally different. So I know one of the things that Zim had mentioned on the NA spawn is back in when me and him were in a game called Vainglory, everybody was looking at this Korean team called Rox Armada, who, we thought they were coming to Worlds and they were just going to mop the floor and just clean everybody out. And I think they went out on day one. And it's actually funny
Yeah.
because everybody was so convinced that Rox was going to win. And this isn't just like everybody who's anybody. They actually did like an event on Twitter where it was like you would go in and you would fill out a bracket, kind of like a March Madness. And on day one of Worlds, which is I think a 5-day event, 100% of the brackets had lost. 100%. And you could see the exact same thing here if that were to come where, people start looking at the Garena teams or something like that and they're like, oh man, this team or the Chinese. I don't know if you got to watch any of the China Masters the other day. Oh my goodness. The search and destroy those teams pulled together is insanity. They also play 9-round search and destroy, which is like a whole nother mental challenge, right? So it should be exciting.
Back in the day, like our SNEs were like 10 as well, and it was just like a 30-minute game. But like necessarily when it would come down to gems, like I said it to a lot of people, like I watched like a lot Chinese matches, like the way that Chinese people play, they don't play with trophies in SNDs, like they just try to cook nades and like flashbang people to see where they're at. It's just like, it's not gonna happen if you play against NA or EU teams, because they're just most likely gonna rush you before you even have time to cook these nades. And I feel like EU or NA teams are insane counter against Chinese people, especially in SND. Like they look good at SND, they don't miss, but like same thing. I don't think they would survive in the global like rule setting, especially.
Yeah, for a bit there, I was thinking your top NA teams, like maybe NYSL and Tribe. Looking at Masters at least, I was like, I feel like these two teams could compete and possibly beat EU, but I don't know. The past couple weeks has been not looking very good for NA at all. I mean,
isn't truly like a NA top team.
It truly is as well, but I find it so hard to believe in a team that doesn't scrim. They're all on. I don't really talk to anybody on Truly, but I talk to people on all of the NA teams, right? And they're all like, man, we'd love to scrim against Truly, but trying to get all 5 of them to be on for a scrim at the same time is difficult. I think they're largely West Coast, and a lot of the players in North America are East Coast, so Truly's not getting on and scrimming until 11 o'clock at night, and it's super difficult for me to believe that a team that is struggling to get practice in with other top teams is going to continue to have that top tier performance. So I would love to say that Truly comes through to stage 4 and has another great performance like they did in Masters, but I know NYSL are grinding, I know Tribe is grinding, I know Explicit is grinding, and I know ARP is grinding hard. And I don't know. Truly's got a lot of ground to make up.
Yeah, but like Tribe's not gonna like get the spot, obviously. But like,
well, right. So it'll be what the top 2 teams that aren't Tribe. So if it was like let's say Tribe wins and then it's Mayhem Explicit after, it's
no,
just
no. It would be like obviously these 2 grand finals, and if Tribe's gonna win the whole thing, then it would be 2 and like third. Like that's how I assume it would be, and it would be like the lower final winner, like loser.
Right.
Loser. Yeah. The winner of the loser bracket.
Right, but again, when I'm comparing them to 3 other teams like NYSL Mayhem, Explicit, who is merged with Arsenal, who is a team that beat Tribe a couple weeks ago, ARP, who is a team that hasn't really put their best foot forward yet on the competition scene, but I know those guys are scrimming all the time. And I actually do at times feel like that's one of their hindrances as well. I feel like they scrim to the point that they burn themselves out. And that can be equally as harmful. And that's why I didn't necessarily put them up in the top 3 with Tribe, Explicit, and Mayhem, because I feel like ARP as a team needs to just chill and take a couple days off and work on it from there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm super excited for Worlds. I would love to go to a LAN event. There's tons of players on multiple different regions that I would love to get to hang out with. Obviously, I'd love for to be able to go to a live event with Verdict as well.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
One of the like most surprising things to me during Mobile Mayhem EU today, Verdict, I had no clue that you were just this tank 6'2". Like what on earth, man?
Hey, look, I told you I played college baseball, college football, played semi-professional football. I'm a big dude, okay? I'm not as big as I used to be, but I was jacked back in the day.
Look,
Talk about
I can tell
Like,
you're
I
big,
bench-
like, stout, right? Like, I can tell that. I'm like, Verdict's not a pushover dude, but I didn't know you were, like, tall, too, you know?
Yeah, well, my brothers. I'm actually the tallest of all my brothers. It's the funny part. My older brother is 6'4". My little brother is 6'3.5". He's a brick house too, bro. Literally, he's a firefighter. He played college baseball. Should have been drafted. Just an absolute animal. And the funny thing is, our parents. My mom played softball a little bit, not even competitively. My father, he was a bench rider. He never played any sports started other than basketball, which is the crazy part. But we just came out with these like freakishly athletic abilities that, I guess my father helped mold over the course of time. And like, by the time I'll paint you a picture. By the time I was in ninth grade, bro, I was like 5'10", 200 pounds, and I was bench pressing like 315, like 5-6 times consecutively. I was a big fucking teenager. I was a grown ass man by the time I was 15. Like big ass body, big arms, biceps the size of people's necks, freakishly big.
You look buff anyway on stream.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I haven't hit the gym. I'm gonna be fair. Listen, I haven't hit a gym in 3-4 years.
I mean, like, still, you're not gonna get like shredded or something.
No, I mean, if I hit the gym and got jacked, bro, you guys would be like, God damn, Verdict, get off the road. I'd never use protein or creatine, any of that shit. It's all natural, my guy.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
But no, a lead event would be phenomenal one day, especially. Imperium too, man. We'd have to get him a Georgia, a Atlanta Braves jersey, though.
Yeah, I'm down. Absolutely. It'll be a good time. Obviously, love to have Bobby there. Beef Mommy, she's absolutely hilarious. So that would always be fun. And then all the teams, right? Like, again, I think, and I could be wrong, right? Like, I sleep on Truly pretty hard. I wasn't sleeping on Truly for Masters, but I don't feel like a lot is coming out of them. But I'd love to meet, a bunch of the guys on Tribe. I talked to Bolu. I talked to Image the Sausage Man. I talked to Band here and there. I talked to the guys over at NYSL. Like, I'd love to go see all those guys. And then it's like, I don't get as much of a chance to talk to a lot of the EU people, like I do when they pop into my chat and stuff. But I'm not chatting with them on Discord just like BSing, right? And I would like to get to know more of them. Like, I'm a huge Miney fan.
Hey.
One of the first, like, when I first came to COD M, like, he was one of the first content creators I really watched, content creators / pro players. I'd love to meet Miney someday. I'd love to meet Head for Death. Shark is absolutely nuts. I'd love to get to shake Shark's hand. Grizz, Toby, Durari, Jim. There's so many good players that are across the pond and just live in a different time zone where it's like, I don't have a super smooth avenue to talk to them. Yeah, Head for Death. I'm a fan of Head, yeah.
I'll tell you how you get to know these guys, bro. This is what you do. This is a secret, right? An hour before the Mobile Mayhem EU stream starts, just randomly join the interview room, and I swear to God, they'll flock in there. You'll be able to talk to everybody, at least 2 players from every team, because every time I join that interview room, I've got 6 new people coming in, and I don't even know how they do it. It only fits 4 people.
Which is absolutely wild, because in North America, I literally can't get people to come to an interview. Like, it is awful. And then, obviously, when you were getting ready for the Kike interview earlier, you were mentioning that, you were just sitting there BSing with a bunch of people in voice chat, and I'm just like, dude, I tried to get one person into voice chat, and they're like, yeah, I'll do it. And then, like, the day of, they're like, hey, something came up, I'm not going to make it, and... I've had a couple responsible people show up. Like Bolu, he actually put up with me being late, right? So, we've had a couple NA interviews, but not nearly as much as I'd like. So, hopefully we'll get more in the near future.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's like EU just wants to be in the spotlight. Like that's the other thing for NA. I have reached out to everybody for NA, and I have a list of like 6 people for EU that have slid in my DMs on Discord, and they're like, "Hey, I want to do the show with you," and I'm like, "That's great. I've got a couple weeks already scheduled, but I'll touch base with you down the road and let you know." So I don't know. I have a lot of fun when I get to come and hang out in EU, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm glad I've got to do the EU spawn because the EU seems to like really appreciate it. And again, I think a lot of the players in the region are just absolutely fantastic to hang out with. Like we had a good time with Plim, we had a good time with Jim. I've had a good time here today with you here, and you know, again, even though I'm often busy during EU, I've usually got my headphones on and I'm listening to the action, and I can't get enough of how good EU has been, and I'm just so overall disappointed in North America just as a whole. So
I mean, like, NA did was like the stronger region in the beginning, but like you can't do anything. See how tables turn. Like it's just like it's kind of funny.
It is kind of funny. It's kind of crazy too, because you look at the, you know, champ scene last year versus this year in regards to everything building up to it, and I don't think I heard a single like, you know, I heard EU brought up a few times, but the whole scene was just who missed. This is probably a question for everyone out there, because it'd be a lot slimmer or a lot smaller of a response. Who missed that last day where Tribe and damn, what was Maralto's team? XZ. Who missed that day? Did anybody miss that day where Tribe 6 are destroyed XZ on that last day? I don't think so. No one missed that. I think everybody was there. That was like probably the biggest moment in COD Mobile, you know, history that I've been, you know, since I've been watching the game. You know, since I've been casting, it's been a lot different. But EU now, the spotlight's on y'all, bro. Y'all definitely don't get the kind of recognition or views that, you know, y'all deserve.
You have like creators like Jim and like other creators that just rate, especially you, Verdict, and just try to bump up the views. Like, it's just like good to see, but like I would say like EU was like way more competitive even like last year, because you saw like the stage 4. Like I don't know if you watched stage 4 last year, but like Tribe had that run where they just like stomped everyone like the whole way through, and in EU you saw like 2 grand finals like with crazy matchups, everything being close. It's just like a better experience to watch, like especially like for casual people, I'd say, that just are stomped in general.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm gonna see this year as well.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this stuff moving forward. I'm hoping NA gets their shit together, because right now I'm on a worlds level, I'm straight cheering for EU. That's just where I'm at. I have not been impressed these past couple weeks with a lot of the NA teams. I mean, there's definitely some that are shining, but you know, it's again, and it's something that a lot of people have mentioned. It's not just me. It's not just Verdict. Like you look at NA, and they're like so focused on who's winning the gunfight and not necessarily who's playing the game right. And that's why we've seen a lot of really close games, specifically these past couple weeks. You know, me and Verdict have casted games where it's like the scoreboard is just like this team should be winning by a lot, and the game is like a 10-point difference. And I think that's going to be a big development for both of the regions, is who can push that gun skill to the limit, who's going to push the teamwork to the limit, and who's going to last. That's another thing is, you know, we see teams where something will happen and they just dissolve. You know, I don't necessarily want to say that's what's happening to Tribe right now. I mean, they've had a rough couple weeks, but you know, there's other factors as well, right? Like obviously they're down Bolu right now, who's been one of their top slayers. They're down their IGL, but Tribe have just not been looking great. I mean, again, they got 2-0'd by Arsenal on 2 Tuesdays ago, which I don't think is what anybody expected, and it was not even a close 2-0. There was definitely a little bit of trolling in the matchup, them versus F4. Obviously, we had Bolu playing, mostly one-handed. But, I mean, that search and destroy round
Yeah.
11 in a 4 versus 5 is just like, you guys should never have been in that situation. And, again, I feel like there was some trolling going on, but still, way closer
Obviously.
than it needed to be. They haven't been looking at the best of their game. NYSL haven't been looking at the best of their game either. They've been looking up compared to maybe kind of the first couple weeks. I mean, they've gone through a lot too, right? They've had a lot of roster changes in the
Yeah.
past, unable to consistently have the same starting roster, and sometimes that's just the way it works. But I gotta say, I'm pretty hyped for the new explicit roster. I don't know if you're familiar with the changes, Veer, but that's gonna be your Jingo, Molly.
Yeah, I watch him play. Yeah.
Yeah,
Solo as well.
Solo from
Yeah.
Explicit, Snipes from Explicit. I believe Wolver has actually stepped down, and I think Asta as well. But they picked up Saxy, who again, that was one of the big things to me is on paper, Cold looks great, and maybe just aren't working out well. And that's the same thing where I was talking about Saxy and NYSL, right? When Saxy played with NYSL, I mean, he just honestly was not a top-tier player. Leading into, when he was back on Nova, he was looking great, just didn't work well with NYSL. Then he went on to Arsenal and was popping off there. He's on Explicit now, and he's popping off there. Sometimes shit just doesn't work, and I'm really excited about the Explicit roster because I largely felt like Explicit before, while they were an overall good team, it did largely feel like Solo and Snipes carried. And now they've got a real team behind them, and that's like one of the saving graces I think right now of what they can bring to the table. Because I believe on Meeseeks, which I missed, if I remember correctly, I think Tribe beat Explicit 3-0, and actually that looks like what someone says in chat too. So yeah, so so Tribe is definitely still a team that people have to be worried about, right? Like, they're not pushovers, but the NA
With the
scene
lack
is
of
just-
competition,
it's just
it
been
definitely
looking
makes
so
you scratch your
weak,
head. Yeah.
man. It's been so weak,
Yeah.
and
Well,
it's like you look at EU, and it's just like, I can't
Just
wait
overflowing
to see,
with talent.
dude, I cannot wait to see the Anarchy versus Cold. I will be here on Thursday with my fucking eyes glued to the screen. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm excited. I'm hoping Tragic pulls together a performance like Veer is hoping they do.
Yeah.
because
Come on, Tragic.
even with Oxygen looking bad, I still think they probably come through and beat Tragic. Again, a lot of that due to just the consistency of Tragic as of late. But, looking at the upcoming matches, like, again, I would say you're probably expecting an Anarchy versus Stamina. And in my opinion, again, I think you're expecting an Oxygen versus Nova, in which you probably see Nova go on to the finals pretty uncontested. But, I mean, if Anarchy does win and goes up against Stamina, that's going to be another match that, like, I'm sitting here with my eyes glued to the screen, wanting to know every second of what happens in that matchup. So, I just...
Gonna smoke these peg. Just saying. Because they're talking so much shit that we like shorty boosted and shit, but like, just wait. We're gonna abuse it way more. Calm down. Just.
Yeah, definitely going to be an exciting next couple days for Europe. I'm not super hyped for North America. Let me actually pop over and see what we've got going on tonight, just in case if anybody's interested on those.
It's NYSL Mayhem and
Yep.
Tribe tonight, right?
Yep. NYSL Mayhem versus Tribe is going to be obviously that main matchup everybody's looking for. I think New Explicit versus ARP is going to damn,
that
people are looking forward
damn, y'all
to.
do have a fucking banger tonight, bro. Why are
Yep.
you hiding on us, dude? You underselling.
No, I'm not underselling for tonight, right? Like, tonight's the
Okay,
first,
yeah, you're right,
the first night of good fucking matches we've had all season long, okay? So, tonight is going to be great, but the rest of the season has just been horrible. And the only
It's been
reason
lackluster.
the only reason tonight is really going to be great is because Tribe have been looking bad and Mayhem have been looking good. So I think a lot of people really want to know there, because Tribe again beat Mayhem twice in Masters, and then Mayhem bounced back in Stage 3 and I think 2-0'd Tribe and then reverse swept AR. And then the week after that, AR came in and beat Tribe. So Tribe have been looking down, Mayhem have been looking up. AR have been looking up. ARP is a team that practices a lot, and we got to see how that develops. So yeah, we have two great matches tonight, as well as we have Shred It versus Mafia X. that'll put us in to decide what our finals week is going to look like. But yeah, I mean, the rest of the season, if you look at any other day of Mobile Mayhem all season long, there's been maybe one good match. But again, you look at EU and it's like there's always at least two. When there's more than 2 games, there's always at least 2 really good games. So yeah, I'm excited for it. But I think that's pretty much all I've got for you guys today. If you guys have any other closing statements, I know it's getting late over there for you, Veer, and you're probably wanting to take a nap before NA starts. But
not really. I've been staying awake like nights anyway. Like, fine. But like something like I wanted to ask as well, but like explicit, you should like you know way more than about NA than I do. Didn't they do like a 4-man roster change like after they qualified?
I got this one. Dave.
for it.
So explicit, right? So this is the scenario. Explicit, Solo, Snipes, all those guys, they disband, right? Okay. Arsenal pick up a few of those players, Solo and Snipes, and remain Arsenal, but they rebrand as Explicit.
Oh,
I can't make this shit up.
It is confusing. But they so the way the merger in the way I see it worked is they merged together under Arsenal for Mobile Mayhem because Arsenal had more points than Explicit, but they're taking under the name Explicit because Explicit has that stage 4 spot basically.
Exactly.
And Arsenal just got absolutely dummy robbed, right? Like we have and again, I haven't seen any of these guys on stream yet, so it's kind of hard to say. But you know, I definitely think Destiny Official Gaming, which is one of the teams that is going into Stage 4, I feel like they're an iPad Ranked Warriors team that ended up getting the spot because Game Battles just did not weight the performance of Masters towards any of the placements in Stage 3. And Arsenal immediately got dropped in a bracket with NYSL Mayhem and Tribe, and got knocked out of the competition. And now, since we're seeing those players on Explicit, we'll probably see them moving forward. I don't know how all of the details on that end works, but you know, again, that's one of those just kind of scenarios where it's like Arsenal was looking great, and they just kind of got screwed in one day of competition, just where they got placed in the Game Battles. But you know, what are you going to do?
I don't really think that Explicit can make the roster change for Stage 4, though.
I
think they can either.
I don't think they can. I don't think they can either. I think
can,
they'll have to play with.
You can do one roster change, like one player, but
Right.
not like the whole team.
Right. Yeah. No, they won't. The teams merged for Mayhem, and they'll probably pick up like the one player for Stage 4. Like I would be looking at if I'm looking at the roster, I'm saying like Jingo's got to be your guy, right? Jingo or maybe Molly, but
Blur.
You think?
Yeah, I'm not dissing Jingo in any aspect, but Blur is that player. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I guess so. But
We shall see.
Yeah, a lot of exciting things coming up, but yeah, it'll be a good night for NA. If you're an EU player and you're up in 2 hours? 3 hours? Yeah, you'll have some really good competition to watch tonight. It'll be the most exciting North America has been in like 6 months.
Ages.
So.
Yeah.
let's hope so. I don't want to see nukes again.
Oh God.
With just 5 men, like
I doubt there will be any nukes tonight. Based on the level of competition we have,
thank
I
God.
feel like the 3 matchups we have will all be good. I feel like obviously Explicit versus ARP has a lot of potential to be good. Tribe versus Mayhem has potential to be good, and Shreddit versus Mafia X has potential to be good just because those two teams are on pretty even footing towards the lower middle. So I feel like there will be 3 really good matches, but I don't think there's any possibility we see a nuke.
Thank God, or maybe like trolls, but not.
Look,
Because
I gotta give all of the credit to Bad Batch, right? Like they showed up every day to Masters and took their ass whooping, got nuked 3 times, and you know I'll give them way more credit because half of NA just doesn't show up at this point. It's pretty rough. Strike Zone has disbanded. Shreddit doesn't show up all the time. F4 never has a 5th player. Primal hardly ever has a 5th player. Like, I give every single one of those Bad Batch players a ton of credit. They showed up. They knew they were going to lose. They knew they were on stream. They got their ass kicked, and they kept coming back. So that, for the most part, what made North America look really bad during Masters is somebody at production should have looked at the schedule and said, this team probably shouldn't be on stream today. Like, there's so many other good teams in North America that got like 1 day of screen time all Masters long, just because that's the way it got planned out. And I'm like, yo, this would have been a way better matchup than watching this team get nuked for the third time.
True.
So
Yeah, but I guess they're not into the scene like as much as.
well, they were all iPad players that qualified on iPad, and then had what they had like half of a
That
week
must
to
be.
make the transition. So I understand, right? Like, yeah, that was a bad performance. Yeah, it made
Yeah.
North America look bad, but you can't blame the players for that, right? Like, that's all on game battles at that point. So
Yeah, game but did forgot, but like even us, like when in stage 4 we had like a crazy bracket as well. We had Nova in our bracket, we had Stamina in our bracket. Like when we saw the bracket, like I legit gave up. Like there's no point we will qualify. And Nova did find like, thank God they got DQ'd. Thank God. I keep saying this. Thank God. We would have been there.
all right, well, yeah, definitely a lot of stuff coming up. I'm super hyped for finals week for Mobile Mayhem for both regions. I'm hoping North America steps up to the plate. Obviously, I've got my predictions in for EU. I will be in chat for
Yeah.
anybody to call me out if I'm wrong on any of it. So be on the lookout for that. That'll be on Thursday on Verdict's channel. Veer, if you've got anybody you want to shout out, or if you have any social media or streaming platforms you want to shout out, feel free to go ahead and do it. But then we'll get wrapped up and we'll get you onto your night.
Nah, not really.
Not
Thanks for
really?
having me though.
No streaming,
Yeah.
no nothing?
I will stream in like a couple days maybe. Let's see.
You should do it.
Just waiting
You
for a
should absolutely
cable.
do it.
I should do it.
Shout
Alright.
out to Wiki.
Yeah, huge shout out
Beat
to
you to it.
Wiki. Great member of the COD Mobile community. Basically a mod everywhere I go. Fantastic member of the community. And it's
Shout out
always,
Money for not showing
it's
up.
always
Yeah,
a
shout out to
pleasure to have
Miney.
you, Wiki.
Ah.
Shout out to Money.
Yeah, big shout out to Miney for giving Veer this opportunity. All
Maybe
right.
next time that you trim.
Yeah, we'll get Miney in down the road still. It'll be a good time. I've got like 4 or 5 players lined up for EU. Again, it's amazing how much EU players have actually reached out to me and been like, "Hey, I want to do this." And again, North America is like I have like got to beg people. Not really,
Yeah,
but
cause like the spawn is actually like people like it, cause especially me. Like I actually like it, like to watch like after.
I feel like
after
the EU
matches and
scene is marginally older, and I feel like that's more of like what a talk
Yeah,
show
it's-
appeals to versus like the younger generation. They just want to watch people get shot. So
I wouldn't
Truer
necessarily
words were
say,
never
but, like,
spoken.
and then people are just like, I don't know, they're weird. Nah, some of them. Not everyone, but some of them.
all right, well
Okay.
that's it for us on the spawn, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you guys tune in about 2 hours for the North American broadcast. Again, got 3 really spicy matchups tonight. The best North America has looked all season long. Explicit versus ARP, Shred It versus Mafia X, and Tribe versus Mayhem. That's going to be over on Bobby Plays channel. And we'll, of course, have the spawn following Thursday's broadcast. And make sure you guys don't miss the kickoff of the quarterfinals on Tuesday. That'll be on Verdict's channel and my channel. Thank you guys so much for coming by, and we'll catch you later.
Cheers.